During the civil rights time period, there were a lot of people who were fighting for their rights. It was the African Americans, women, gay couples, minorities, and religious groups. The civil rights time period was a time of change. Women were a major part of the civil rights. After World War II, the women started getting used to working at jobs. They realized that they were just as capable as men in holding a job, and they didn't intend on going back to their usual days. Women were able to start working, but their pay was tremendously less than the men's pay. This is where the Equal Pay Act of 1963 came in. Women were finally being paid as much as men for doing the same job just as well, if not better. Gay rights aren't just an issue right now. They were also a problem during the civil rights time period. Gay couples weren't as commonly known as they are right now, so people were even more cruel to them. Gay people who wanted to serve in the military were denied right away. This made not only the gay community mad, but other people as well. They felt like the people were being denied the right to defend their country, which they thought was unconstitutional. The military received a lot of backlash. This brought the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy into action. It stated that anybody who goes into the military can be gay, but they aren't allowed to speak of it or act on it. It also stated the military officials aren't allowed to ask if the person is gay or not upon admission. Minorities were also wanting their own rights. They wanted to be treated as equals. Minorities were the victims of a lot of hate crimes during the civil rights time period. This did not stop them from trying to be treated with respect. Another problem that minorities encountered was racial profiling. The driving while black law was a huge turning point in minority rights. This law stated who officers should pull over and who they shouldn't. They said that if the driver was a minority, then it was mandatory that they should be pulled over or even searched. If the driver was white, they didn't have to pull them over. This caused minorities to take action against this law, which in turn was a good thing because the law was later repealed. The last group that I will cover is religious rights. There was a very distinct separation of church and state. Some examples of this include the banning of praying in school. This upset a lot of people because they believed that it was against what America was built on. Another problem was the banning of writing the Ten Commandments in any public place. It was illegal to post or write any part of the Ten Commandments in anywhere outside of your own home. Civil rights was a time of action and change. But when you think about it, civil rights isn't over yet. There are still so many people who are fighting for their rights today. Civil rights is something that will always be happening and will always be ever changing. It is up to us to decide whether or not we want to be a part of the change or not.